Hey guys, Ron here. I haven't done one of these in a little while. It was interesting. I was looking over my notes from a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Could have been only a week and a half ago, and I was going to post on how I got a 500,000 reach on my Facebook post. And funny enough, last night at 8 o'clock, a little earlier than I thought, from a Saturday post, I actually had a new post that reached over 1 million people. So things have changed a lot in the last week and a half. So I want to share some stats from that just so you kind of know what it looks like. It has a lot. It was only probably about 3 sentences long, a little longer than some of the other ones. It was very much on target with very much the right audience. We hit thank you, Lynn, for the hearts. We were at about 26,000 fans. We typically get about probably 35 to 45 organic fans a day. Yeah, thank you. 35 to 45 curious to hear, good. 35 to 45 organic fans a day, probably 25 to 30 paid fans every day. I've been doing that for months. And it's a client that I help out. And to give you an idea, we had a post that just completely went viral. Give you some stats on it. The number that I have done 1,000 shares with quite a few of them. I've done 509,000 on that other one. I did 320,000 on another one, 185,000 on another one. The one that was really interesting about this, and it did have a lot in common with the $509,000 one, as far as being very specific on the message. And it's different for every audience. Yes, I do have it dialed in. I've been testing a lot of different things. The number that caught my attention right away on this was it had 1,000 shares in the first 12 hours. And I've had some that have had about 1,000 shares in maybe a day and a half. But 1,000 shares in 12 hours, I knew it was off to really good speed there. So a number I like to just play around with for a while is 10 hours, 1,000 shares, to reach 1 million. I'm going to play around with that number and see if it holds true. I also think if you're posting 5 or 10 times a day, I don't think you're going to reach that 1 million, in my personal opinion. And I think the reason is you're not gaining any scarcity. I think there needs to be as little as 2 posts a day or as little as 1 post a day to be able to build up that demand to have that big of a viral post. I think that I seem to be able to share posts every hour or every 3 hours and get 300 shares quite easily and reach 20,000, 30,000 people, 100% reach. I do 100% reach. I can do that a few times a day. That doesn't seem to be too difficult. This was if I'm doing the math right, it was a 4,000% reach. Roughly, it's 4,000. Take 26,000 and then multiply by about 40. And not only did we reach 100%, we went 40 times that. So very happy with those results. I'm going to keep working on it. And I think the 1,000 shares in the first 12 hours is a good indicator. I've had other Facebook pages I built up from scratch, and I've had them get down to zero, like almost zero engagement, and I've tried lots of different things to revive them. But what it seems to me it is very good organic fans consistently over a period of time. And then, so let me give you another stat. When we when it really hit, we went from like $20,000 to 30,000 reach in a day. There was a time a few weeks back we had 171,000 reach in one day because of that other post. But fast forward, we started just hitting 20,000, 30,000 reach a day as I was just doing a few posts here and a few posts there. This particular day we reached 464,000 reach that day. And what was really interesting is the very next day, without even posting anything, it was already back up to like 322,000 reach just on its own, virally. And then it was even went another 170, 180,000 reach after that. So it lasted for, the high point was actually the very next day. It actually got bigger the next day. And the shares were, I think, 2 or 3 shares a minute is what we were experiencing, about 2 to 3 shares a minute. And so it actually, I find that posts that do very well do their best in the first 12 hours. And posts that do really, really well do their best about the second day. And they might even go into a third day. And then usually it'll just slow down from there, and then you gotta go find a new post again to go viral. I have not found it to go much more than a couple days before it just kind of dies off and tapers off. So those are some numbers. I'll give you some other numbers as we reached 1 million. It was posted on Saturday. It reached it yesterday at 8 p.m. Yesterday was Tuesday, so I'll give you an idea. It was about 3+ days. Happy Heartlock, good to see you. And to give you some other, the 1 million reach came with just over 50,000 likes on the post. It spiked up to about 320 organic likes for the page for the day. It even came in with almost 200 the next day. The post for 509,000 and the one for 1 million plus was for a page called My Recovery and for people with addictions. And the post was basically both of them. Most of the ones that were successful just basically said addiction is bad type of a message, and people related to that. When we started in the earlier months ago, we were doing a lot of them on, or this is alcoholism, or another one I did a post on how to quit smoking. As I opened up the market more and decided to realize that it's more encompassing than just drugs or just alcohol or just cigarettes, and help the client know that it's the addiction encompasses all of those. More people related to that problem. And then also what was a learning experience for me is, as the page was named My Recovery, was a learning experience for me is after that successful $509,000 post, I had this other one that I posted after like 50 other ones in between, and I realized that the top 2 posts actually both out of 500 posts had very much, those 2 posts had something in common. What they had in common was their very specific message of this is addiction and this is recovery, and separating the two. And the people, it resonated with the people. They related to it, and they're just like, I gotta share this. So you get some people that tag people. We get about 50,000 likes. Probably, when you start seeing, if you look at Facebook Insights, you start looking at the post clicks and some of those numbers are up in the 20,000 plus. Other clicks are 20,000 plus. It might even been higher than that. The ones that caught my attention were the shares. The shares were about 15,500, 15,600 to reach that 1 million reach. And it happens very quickly. To give you an idea, I track everything. So the first 12 hours was roughly about 1,000 shares. The next 6.5 to 7 hours was another 1,000 shares. It seemed like we were at about the 2+ shares per minute at that point. And then I checked it 12 to 24 hours later, and it was up to like 6,000 or 7,000 shares. It did just take off at that point. So it actually sped up. It's because it was spread. It spread so wide to so many people through the viral effect. And yeah, you're very welcome. So a lot of it it comes down to honing the message to get very specific with what resonates with people. If you just have a page that says how to make money online, I don't think that's very specific. I think it's got to feel like a tribe. It's got to feel like a very specific audience, because that conversion ratio, 1 in 20 engagement is what I've always seen. That ratio comes from being very in line and resonating with other people, being very specific, so that it's almost like a tribe of people that feel like you're finishing the thought that they're already thinking. And you take that, and then you take consistent likes to the page of real fans, and then the consistency plus them when they like and comment and share. You need actually all of that. The post clicks, the likes, the comments, the shares, all of that. The comments was, I don't remember the exact number. I think when we had 15,500 shares, I think it was 8,000 comments, I believe is where the number came in. And I believe on the 509,000 post, I think we were somewhere around 8,000 shares and 2,000 comments, I believe is where we were. So that's kind of where it's at. So the comments aren't the big one. What does seem to be the case, though, is when you get up to that 1 million, to be able to get that Facebook wheel to work, you really want people engaging always. Photo clicks, likes, comments, shares. You want it to look it should just be very natural and organic. So that's basically what was working for me. What I think keeps it going is we consistently keep likes to the page coming in, shares and engagement going, and what I believe happens, and I ran some numbers on this, it's around between 11, on about 5 different samplings, 1,143 up to 1,700. And where that number comes from is for 1,143 to 1,700 people that were reached, got one organic like to the page. But that compounds quickly, so you can get to the point where you can get to 2,000 to 3,000 reach, but then that can quickly get to 8 or 10,000 reach if you get really good at it. So then you gain momentum. So then it just gets to the point where they're getting you 2 organics a day, 2 organic likes a day, and then soon they're getting you 7 organic likes a day. And those people come in, and now they're getting you organic likes. So the whole thing is a compound effect. So that's basically how the numbers came down on the 1 million reach. And I hope you guys